Welcome to Mad Cat English. Today's lesson is an introduction to the present perfect, using it to express unspecified time in the past. My name is Maria, and I'll be your teacher for today, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's start talking about movies. I think everybody loves movies, and I happen to be recording this during the holiday season, which is a time when a lot of popular series come out with new editions of their movies. Case in point, Spectre for James Bond and the new Star Wars movie. Now, have you seen these movies? If we notice the verb in this question, we have the verb have, but we have another verb, seen. Seen is what we call a past participle. When we have this combination of the verb have plus a past participle, this is called the present perfect. When we form the present perfect, we have our subject pronoun, for example, I, the verb have, and then a past participle. And for all of our subject pronouns, we still need to use subject-verb agreement. So that's why our first four examples, I, you, we, and they, all go with the verb have. And if we notice our first four examples of past participles, they look just like the simple past. And that's because these four verbs are regular verbs. So all you need to do is add on ed. However, for our other subject pronouns, we also need to use subject-verb agreement. So that's why he, she, and it uses the verb has. Now stopped, as we see, is still a regular verb, but we've added that second P. However, taught and gone are irregular verbs, so their past participles may or may not be the same as the simple past. Now we can also take this verb tense and use it in the negative, simply by adding not in between the verb have and the past participle. We can also contract have and not to form haven't. We can do the same thing with has. Not goes in between has and the past participle, or we can contract them to form hasn't. Now, because English has quite a number of irregular verbs, when you use the present perfect, it's important to make sure you are familiar with a number of commonly used irregular past participles. This list is a very small sample of these commonly used irregular past participles. You should definitely make a point to learn these and make sure that you learn the spelling. All right, so when do I use present perfect? Well, as we mentioned with Spectre, if this is an experience that you have already had, you can say, I have seen Spectre. This tells us that if we look at our timeline and we think about now, and all of the time before now, somewhere in there, you saw Spectre. The key is that we don't know when. So because we don't know when, we use the present perfect to express unspecified time in the past. It doesn't matter how many times in the past something happened. Even if it was only once, you can say, I have seen Spectre once. Or even simply, I have seen Spectre before. The key is that we don't know when. even if it was more than once. You can also say, I have seen Spectre many times. And here, if we notice these 3 times, we still don't know when. So we need to be careful. If you say something like, I have seen Spectre last week, well, this is a mistake, and let's see why. If we again take a look at our timeline and we see where we are now, well, if we think about last week, we know when that was. So if you know when something happened, just use the simple past. I saw Spectre last week. But if you don't know when something happened, use the present perfect. I have seen Spectre before. Let's now think about Star Wars. Well, at the time of recording this, it so happens that the new Star Wars has not yet come out. So this is an experience I have not had. I have not seen Star Wars. Now in the negative, it's also possible to replace not with never. I have never seen Star Wars. But in both cases, the idea is the same. If we take a look at our timeline and we think about now and all the time that came before now, what we are saying is that something did not happen. But the key here is that we still don't know at what point in the past. So that makes this unspecified time in the past. Even when you want to ask about somebody else's experience in the past, you don't know when they did something, but you want to know if they did. You can use have you ever. This ever is an adverb that we use in the question. And then whatever activity you want to ask about. So our question here is, have you ever gone hiking? So as we see, ever goes before the past participle. Now, if you think about your past experience, and if it's true, you can say, yes, I have. Or, I have gone hiking. Again, the key is we don't know when. Now, if you look in your past experience, and you have not had this experience, you can say, no, I haven't. Or, I have never gone hiking. So now let's try it out. We are going to complete the following sentences with the present perfect form of the given verbs. Let's start with the verb give. And the sentence, my father has given me lots of good advice. Now let's use the verb be. The weather has been very good lately. And finally, the verb learn. We have learned lots of grammar. Now, of course, it's also possible to use these in the negatives. You could also say, my father hasn't given me lots of good advice. Or, the weather hasn't been very good lately. Or, we haven't learned lots of grammar. All right, let's try it some more. We are going to answer the following questions using the present perfect in short and long sentences. So, have you ever been to Paris? What did you say? Did you say, yes, I have been to Paris? Or did you say, no, I haven't. I have never been to Paris. keep in mind, we don't want to say, I have ever been to Paris. Right? We only use ever in the question. Have you ever gone skydiving? You could say, yes, I have. I have gone skydiving. Or, no, I haven't. I have never gone skydiving. Okay, now that we've taken a look at present perfect and how to form it and how to use it, let's test our knowledge with a little editing. We want to correct the mistakes using the present perfect in the following sentences. Tammy have gone to many different countries. The correct way to say this is Tammy has gone to many different countries. Remember, the subject pronoun for Tammy is she. So we want to use the correct verb that agrees with our subject. We have tried the new restaurant yesterday. One way to correct this is to say, we tried the new restaurant yesterday. Because yesterday tells us when this happened. So we just use the simple past. Another way to correct this is to say, we have tried the new restaurant. But you need to remember to leave out yesterday. I have finished doing my homework. The correct way to say this is, I have finished doing my homework. Remember, we always need that past participle when using the present perfect. Okay, that was your brief introduction to using the present perfect to express unspecified time in the past. Again, my name is Maria, and as always, you are welcome to leave your comments or questions in the comment box below, or you can also email me at madcatenglish@gmail.com. And until the next lesson, my own Mad Cat, Brow, and I wish you mad English. Thank you.